people of this country will no longer withstand this impunity. We have lost all our fear.
Across Kenya, a young and emboldened generation is rising up.
I'm here for Kenya, I'm here for my people, I'm here for your rights.
In June 2024, President William Ruto's government introduced a finance bill widely seen as tied to loan conditions set by the International Monetary Fund.
We demand IMF to come and carry their own puppet.
The IMF-backed bill would have imposed the harshest austerity measures in Kenya's history, in a country where about 40% are living below the poverty line.
Many Kenyans felt their living conditions are unbearable.
But what started as a peaceful demonstration against economic injustice turned deadly on June 20th, 2024, when police killed the first protester, Rex Masai.
Which caused an uproar. Like, why would you kill young people for rejecting a finance bill?
Rex's killing is part of a decades-long pattern of police violence in Kenya.
Not a single police officer has been apprehended or arrested for any of the 65 killings that have been documented.
A year on, the killings and the protests haven't stopped, and President Ruto faces growing accusations of deepening corruption.
We the Kenyan youth are tired of the extrajudicial killings that happen in this country, of the impunity.
Wanjiru was in the street protesting the killing of yet another Kenyan when moments later she learned that her friend was attacked by the police.
Okayo has been shot in the leg. Oh my God. Oh.
Wanjiru later confirmed that Okayo had not been shot. He had been beaten by police, an attack that he was lucky to survive. But for Wanjiru, this wasn't new. She's been in the streets long before 2024. Just 5 years ago, a video of her resisting arrest whilst protesting went viral.
Why are you arresting me? Give me a reason. I protest because you're killing us.
What Wanjiru endured is part of a system that many say drove Kenyans to a breaking point in 2024. Wanjiru has lived it firsthand in Mathare.
That is also the oldest slum in the country. And how most people found themselves here is because they were dispossessed of their land from the British.
Wanjiru remembers her childhood fondly, but she says that it was also tainted by memories of police violence.
I had a happy childhood, and then when I got to teenagehood, I'm now seeing our community with new eyes. So many of the people I used to play with as a child were being killed.
She was only 12 when the police killed her brother, Damason Irungu.
He was one of the greatest footballers in our community. We went to the same school and I had to cross the road. So every evening, my elder brother used to make sure he's helped me cross the road. His killing impacted my whole life.
Wanjiru says Damason was killed in the post-election violence in 2007.
My brother was only 19 years old when they shot him dead, and they shot him here. Meaning he was running. It was not a confrontation. I lived with that pain and anger and injustice. He lives in my memories, in my heart. I hold him in my heart. Yeah.
For years, Wanjiru has turned her grief into community action. At 19, she co-founded the Mathare Social Justice Center, a grassroots organization of mostly young activists.
So we started documenting cases of extrajudicial killings. We were able to take the most notorious killer cop in this community to court.
Wanjiru's fight for justice became a collective one in 2024, when President Ruto's government introduced a finance bill that put higher taxes on everyday goods such as bread and diapers.
Everybody was doing their bit to reject the finance bill. Other people translated the finance bill to local languages.
Many young Kenyans say IMF conditions impact ordinary people and undermine their sovereignty.
My generation is getting it. Everybody now is now learning that it is extremely important to center the well-being of the Kenyan people above everything else.
Their struggle is part of a wider pattern across the global south, where IMF loans are tied to strict austerity conditions that often cut subsidies, raise taxes, and deepen inequality.
Reject finance!
Critics have long warned that IMF policies are rooted in colonial power structures that force countries into cycles of dependency and debt.
Now on 25th, was the mother of all protests this country has ever seen. How everybody came out. People were bringing water for protesters, doctors were offering free medical aid, lawyers were on standby.
Wanjiru was among the thousands of Kenyans who joined the uprising against the finance bill, which culminated in the storming of the parliament. The youth-led uprising forced President Ruto to withdraw the bill.
On that day, Kenya was the Kenya we all want to live in. This is no longer we activists on the streets. This is the ordinary Kenyan citizen coming to defend themselves.
Among the new generation of Kenyans that refused to stay silent was Erickson Chalo Mutisia.
Alafu sasa kurudi, Eric aliwaambia yeye anaingia maandamano apiganie serikali yake njoo hii maisha imeshakuwa ngumu.
On June 25th, 2024, Erickson told his mother he was going to work. Instead, he joined his first protest.
Kama mama, Eric tulikuwa close sana. Juu hata kwa doto ananikujianga. Kuna last year alinikujia akaniambia, "Mom, I did regret."
President Ruto was elected on a promise to create millions of jobs for young Kenyans. But his response to their protests has been marked by violence and suppression. In June and July 2024, the police killed 65 protesters. Erickson was one of them. A year later, their families are still seeking justice.
Kwa akili yangu mimi nikifikiria hakuna kitu imefanyika tangu watoto wetu.
Erickson was shot in the back outside Kenya's parliament on June 25th, 2024. Later that day, Caroline called Erickson's phone. A stranger answered.
Nikamuuliza mbona hiyo simu ya Eric iko na mtu mwingine? Eric ameenda wapi? Huyo kijana alinijibu akaniambia Eric ashafika mbinguni.
For Caroline, the pain of losing her son is made worse by the lack of accountability. She says in the absence of government support, families have been forced to turn to civil society for help.
In many situations, a normal family wouldn't know even where to start when their child is killed by a police officer.
For more than a year, Hussein Khalid has been at protest lines, in morgues and at funerals, always standing with families as they search for answers.
Because you have to, identify the bodies, you have to get in touch with the pathologist, make sure the autopsy is done before the families can pick their bodies.
Khalid leads Vocal Africa, a rights group that's been at the forefront of documenting extrajudicial killings.
If we look at how extrajudicial killings were dealt with in the past and now, there's very little difference. You have government denial, you have police who come out to counter-accuse, particularly the suspects or the victims, and this has been the modus operandi.
In 2010, Kenya adopted a new constitution. It marked a new era away from its authoritarian past, promising justice and reform.
We were told that this is no longer a police force, that it is now a police service. But if you look at the facts on the ground, it remains a police force. There are directives given that you must kill a few so that you can rein in on these protesters.
Khalid says a complete overhaul of the police service is urgent.
This starts with the firing of all top security officers. They must be sent home for allowing during their reign such kinds of atrocities to be committed.
The violent crackdowns only intensified youth participation in the streets and online.
I'm here for Kenya, I'm here for my people, I'm here for your rights.
When this video of Shakira Wafula went viral, it made her one of the most recognizable faces of the movement.
I'm a fitness instructor by profession. I actually live a relatively quiet and simple life.
But that changed in June 2024.
June 18, 2024 was literally my first time ever on the streets protesting. My mother even asked me, "Are you sure you really want to go? They're going to arrest you."
Within 30 minutes of arriving, Shakira was forcefully taken by police officers wearing plain clothes.
And the next thing, I was grabbed by 4 or 5 men. They just literally lifted me off the streets and threw me into this police vehicle.
Instead of being silenced, she says being in a cell with almost 100 women inspired her to return to the streets.
We had people from different walks of life. We had conversations about what exactly each individual came out to the streets for. We were singing revolutionary songs inside there.
Shakira says she joined another protest just 2 days later.
I came out on 20th with a vengeance of I won't allow myself to be arrested.
When 4 armed men threatened to move her, she stood her ground.
We are not going anywhere. We are rejecting the finance bill. Parliament should Africa.
Being a young woman, being a Muslim, and then the confidence and the spirit that came out from that moment, that's what a lot of people resonated with. Previously, protests are usually older people, usually men.
With over 75% of the population under 35, Shakira says she's now also taking her activism beyond the streets.
I also move around the country for civic education and political engagement, trying to get Kenyan citizens to participate actively with what is happening in governance. We need to elect new leaders because the current leadership has already shown us that they are not willing to serve us.
Wanjiru hasn't stopped risking her life on the front lines.
Man.
In 2024, Kenya recorded more than 1,800 demonstrations, the highest in over 3 decades.
This is insanity. This is madness. This is not leadership.
One of the most recent cases to galvanize the nation is the killing of 31-year-old teacher and blogger Albert Ojwang.
Today we are here as Kenyan youth, as Kenyan patriots, to condemn the killing of Albert Ojwang and to demand justice.
Police arrested Ojwang at his home for allegedly publishing false information about a senior police officer. 2 days later, the police claimed he died in custody after harming himself. But an autopsy refuted police accounts.
Head injury, neck compression. You also have other injuries that are pointing towards assault.
After a nationwide outcry and forensic evidence, 6 people, including 3 police officers, were charged with Ojwang's murder.
This time round, the young people are saying enough is enough. We shall not die at home. We shall not feel insecure at home. We shall not be tortured and strangulated at home because of someone's ego. This is the kind of Kenya we don't want.
Wanjiru says her generation's fight is far from over, as they continue to demand justice for the dead and dignity for the living.
The young people have the energy, the knowledge, the passion, the patriotism to change our country, whatever price we pay. And if you will not be able to implement your job constitutionally, unfortunately, you have to go. That is the only message from the Kenyan people today.